if you're here, this means that you want to look at how you can actually go from just writing simple, straightforward paragraphs to actually developing what you're saying and writing some analysis. So I've got our really simple, straightforward paragraph first. Just 4 sentences, really basic, really straightforward, and then we're going to compare it to our more developed paragraph. So at first, Fran lacks confidence. She approaches Scott saying, Fran's stuttering shows that she is lacking the confidence to speak her mind. This leaves a strong first impression with the audience that Fran is not a confident person. If we break that down, we've got topic sentence, example, explanation, and statement. There's no analysis here. There's no analysis in between the explanation and the statement, and it's not going to get you anything more than an achieved because you aren't actually looking at what's the impact of this, why does it matter, how does it play with our minds, etc., etc. Okay, now we'll look at the more fancy one. When Fran first interacts with Scott, she is completely lacking in confidence. After spying on him dancing his own moves in the studio, she tries to work up the courage to propose they dance together, stuttering, blah blah blah. Along with Fran's oversized glasses and daggy clothes, Lumen is introducing her as a meek, unconfident character who is the butt of everyone's joke. Scott himself struggles to take her seriously. This trope of an ugly duckling who is shy and socially inept is universal on our screens. Consider the plots of these popular films: Mean Girls, Princess Diaries, Miss Congeniality, She's the Man. In each film, the female protagonist is introduced as unattractive and socially unaware, only to emerge as a beautiful swan by the end of the film, much like Fran. The audience's first impression of Fran is crucial in order to make her duckling to swan transformation effective. Note that at the end of the example, it's a new sentence where I say, along with Fran's oversized glasses and daggy clothes, comma, and then I've actually split it because then I begin my explanation. So I've actually given 2 examples in one. I've talked about what she's saying, and then I've talked about her costume, which really boosts it when you can talk about how 2 things work together to make a stronger impression on the reader. So that's how the whole thing flows together. And now we're going to look at how these 2 paragraphs compare. So let's look at the topic sentence first. At first, Fran lacks confidence. 5 words, pretty straightforward. Second version. When Fran first interacts with Scott, so instead of just saying at first, I'm telling you what's actually happening. Not just at first, not just the first time we see her, but when she's interacting with Scott. She's completely lacking in confidence. I've even just taken that Fran lacks confidence and made it a stronger statement. She is completely lacking in confidence. And I'm inserting my own opinion. Now we look at the example. She approaches Scott saying, blah, blah, blah. Just nice and simple, straightforward. But you don't actually know what's happening. You don't know what he's been doing, what she's been doing, what the scene looks like. So if the person hasn't seen the film, then they don't really have any idea what you're talking about. If you look at the second example there, after spying on him, which says a lot, spying on him, dancing his own moves in the studio, she tries to work up the courage, which is an important word, to propose they dance together, stuttering, etc. Along with Fran's oversized glasses and daggy clothes, and that sentence is to be continued. So as I said just before, this shows how I can talk about not only dialogue, but also her costume and the impression that those 2 things, when you put them together, the impression that those 2 things leave on us as the audience. Now let's look at the explanation. Fran's stuttering shows that she's lacking the confidence to speak her mind. Cool, that's pretty obvious. If you look at the second one, I've used Luhrmann's name, and that's awesome because it talks about authorial intent. What is the author's purpose? Who has actually created this and why have they done what they've done? So, Luhrmann is introducing her as a meek, unconfident character who is the butt of everyone's joke. Scott himself struggles to take her seriously. So I'm expanding it to show that it's not just us who think she's lacking in confidence. It's everybody around her at the dance studio who makes fun of her and pays her no attention. Okay, now let's look at this analysis. Trope, remember, is when it's like a storyline or even a character type or a setting, anything like that that gets used over and over and over in lots of different films or TV shows or even novels, all sorts of things like that. So the ugly duckling to beautiful swan is a trope that we're now used to. Hans Christian Andersen wrote the children's story, but that has been used in so many different texts. Inept, socially inept. Inept means that you can't do something, so she's not very good at socializing. And the fact that I'm saying it's universal on our screens, that shows that I understand where these storylines come from and how common they are. Then I refer to lots of different films: Mean Girls, Princess Diaries, Miss Congeniality, She's the Man. In each of these films, the female protagonist introduced unattractive and socially unaware, only to emerge as a beautiful swan, blah, blah, blah. So I'm comparing the two, Fran and all these other female characters. So that's a lot of analysis there. For Year 9, that would get you excellence easily. Okay, if you're a Year 11 watching this, then you would need to go on and analyse this further. That would only be the beginning of your analysis. And here we have my statement. This leaves a strong impression with the audience that Fran is not a confident person. And my souped up statement: the audience's first impression of Fran is crucial in order to make her duckling to swan transformation effective. So two things are different there. The word crucial, so I'm really emphasising how important it is. And then I'm referring to that duckling to swan transformation, which is the kind of thing that's really going to boost your answer, because you're placing Strictly Ballroom in a wider world of texts that and referring to the fact that this storyline is not the first time this storyline has been used. It's actually a storyline that we're used to watching. So that is how you take something that's only 4 sentences long and you really develop it and analyse it and talk about why it's important and how it fits into the wider world of film.